Okay, so everybody, next up, like I said, is going to be rally marketing, speed marketing. I know we've kind of had a few people dropping out here and there over the past 2 hours. I know it's late, but if you want some free marketing advice, we're here to give it. So if anybody's ever attended a social media breakfast that has been put on by Rally Marketing, you'll know that we try to keep things very conversational, but we are also open books with our knowledge and our advice. If you do have any pain points, if you are running into any kind of problems, if you have questions about marketing, now's your chance to ask and get free advice from an expert. We even have the capability to pull people in. We can have a conversation back and forth. So yeah, I'm going to open it up and just see if anybody has anything or wants anything. Thank you, Catherine. Yeah. Anybody got anything they want to talk about or have any questions about specific pain points? I know there's been a few hours of presentation, so people are tired. If nobody has anything, I won't be offended much. Oh, Jacob, I'm trying to create our own analytics dashboard. Any advice? Man, hey, Jacob, good to see you, man. And let me know if y'all want to get pulled in for back and forth kind of conversation. So reporting has been one of the biggest struggles of the 12 years that I have been doing online marketing. I can never find a dashboard that pulls in everything that I needed to pull in a format that I want it pulled into. So you typically have to make some sacrifices if you want the type of dashboard that pulls things in automatically. Good ones that I've run into that I personally like are Cyphe, C-Y-F-E. It's fairly inexpensive. You can create very visual dashboards. Another good one is Google Data Studio. Google Data Studio does take more knowledge to set up. And it's a bit more of an involved process, but it is super customizable. It ties into Google Analytics. It ties into Google AdWords. You can pull in data from Google Sheets. It does take more setup, but to me, Google Data Studio has produced probably the closest thing to a full, well-rounded thing, dashboard. So Melanie said, she's given some great questions that you guys could ask. I love it. Some great prompts. Holiday marketing plan set. Have you guys started planning for holiday marketing yet? Because if you haven't, you definitely should. And if you need any ideas, we can do that. Yeah, what platforms you want to use, what tools, how you know it's time to do whatever. Anything at all. I mean, I can just sit here and talk if you want. I don't mind. I do it all the time. Social media breakfast. So Edna, social media breakfasts are something that sadly was kind of a victim of the pandemic, but I think now's the time to bring them back. So social media breakfasts are the first Friday of every single month. So technically tomorrow would have been our social media breakfast, but we're kind of using this as our monthly social media breakfast. So starting in the first Friday of December, 7:30 a.m., it's kind of early, at Opportunity Machine. Free. You can get some donuts, some coffee, and fantastic marketing advice. Melanie has a great question. Chatbots, yes or no? That's a fantastic question because I personally love chatbots, but probably not in the way that most people think about chatbots. I think a lot of companies look to chatbots as a way to streamline customer service, which it can be very, very useful to do. As long as there's a couple of things, I like to, one, be completely upfront that people are talking to a robot. I don't try to mask that they're not talking to, that they're talking to a person or anything like that because it's useless. I think people know. But I also think that sets up an expectation that your interaction will probably not be 100% perfect in what you need. I think chatbots are fantastic for communicating information, those kind of frequently asked questions that your company gets, but you should always, always, always have the option to speak to a human and have somebody who's monitoring or on call to then take it up from there. We personally love chatbots at Rally Marketing for their storytelling capabilities. There was a couple of Halloweens ago where we did a choose your own death haunted house adventure. It was before Netflix did theirs. Thank you very much. But it was a haunted house where you enter and you can choose different rooms to go in. It had animated gifts. It had different deaths that you would experience. And people loved it. In fact, people did it multiple times to see if they could get out alive. And that's kind of the trick. They never could. Every single scenario leads to something horrible and horrific. It was for Halloween. So that I didn't mention that part. But yeah, and we also did something that we called Kringletron, which was a Santa bot where kids could chat with Santa, tell them what they want for Christmas. They could see a reindeer live stream of reindeers kind of grazing out in a pasture. They could get Santa selfies where Santa would send them, peace signs and things like that. And kids loved it. At the same time, you did also have kids responding with things like, I love you, Santa. And we didn't plan on having kids say that. So I was always on standby, ready to pose as Santa and tell them that I love them too. And they've been good boys and girls. So yeah, I think chatbots can be amazing if they're done with intention. And I like that you said that, Melanie, especially when it came to videos live versus pre-recorded and edited, and choosing which format you want with intention. That's something that we've really, really been pushing for the past few years is whatever you do it with intention. So if you're making a chatbot, do it with a specific intention and keep that in mind when you're creating it. Jacob says they're in the real estate industry. Facebook protected categories make advertising on Facebook very difficult. It absolutely does. What are some platforms that you recommend to use in place of Facebook? He's eyeing OTT and CTV. That's over the top and connected TV. So I think that's a fantastic option, Jacob. There are specific if you're looking to spend money, on advertising, then there are specific DSPs or demand side platforms that have access to tons of different websites. A lot of them the same websites that Google has access to. Some of them might have similar rules, but I found those to be pretty good. OTT and CTV, connected TV, is a big one because I've been a cord cutter for the past 15 years. We haven't had cable, and more people are becoming cord cutters. More and more people are watching things like Hulu and those platforms that have free advertising. Hell, every single cable channel has their own streaming platform that offers advertising on it. A lot of those DSPs that I just mentioned, the demand side platforms, offer connected TV. The great things about those DSPs is that they not only do display advertising, so those banners that show up on the top and the side of websites, but they do connected TV. They do podcasts. So they do so many different things. And the great thing about these DSPs that I found is that they spend so much money that you get a pretty decent bang for your buck whenever you utilize them. A lot of them do require you to kind of have some foreknowledge. If you want an account manager, you will be kind of paying a little bit extra. But that's what I would recommend. Facebook can be a real pain to advertise on. But I really like Melanie's idea also, boosting and promoting buyer stories versus kind of promoting, your own services. That kind of gets it out to the masses. So yeah, I think that's a fantastic idea, Melanie. But yeah, look up some demand side platforms, some DSPs. I think you could probably have some luck there. Anybody else? What y'all got? A lot of questions that I get often are, where do I start creating content? I think Melanie has probably the best framework for how do you start. But if you're not used to writing, if you're not used to creating content, what I would recommend is, and I think Melanie even mentioned something like this, focusing on one or two, getting really good at those, and then you get more comfortable creating content. Then you get more comfortable speaking to people. You get more comfortable writing. You get more comfortable being in front of video. So do a couple as opposed to trying them all at once. Get really good at those, and then it makes that leap a lot easier. I give people the same advice for online marketing. You have social ads, you have organic social media, you have paid search, display advertising, SEO, so many different things that it is so overwhelming when you just want to sit down and get started. And that's my exact advice for that too, is get really good at one thing first. Focus on, let's say, organic social, or focus on social media ads, focus on paid search ads first, and get really good at that one thing, because it's so much easier to make a leap from paid search to paid social than it is to just dive into all of it at once. So I think doing those things with intention, getting really good at a few before you kind of try to do it all, is some of the best advice that I can give. So I think another good topic that people always ask me about is SEO. Where to start with SEO? SEO is kind of one of those things where it can be really intimidating. I would recommend that if you want to get started on SEO, Moz has a fantastic SEO guide that I think anybody who's interested in that should read. It runs the gamut of everything. Things as easy as keyword research. Where do you go to find the keywords that people use to find your service or product? How to optimize the content on your web page, how to get links. It also includes things like the weird coding backend SEO that people have a really hard time with, but it goes that in depth into it. I would definitely recommend checking out Moz's guide to SEO. Kirsty said, if you wanted to pursue more company culture videos but know very little about video editing, what tools would you recommend to a beginner? So I used to do a lot of videos. I mentioned Innovate South, and I mentioned Social Media Breakfast. And at Social Media Breakfast, like I said, what I would do is I would just have my phone set up straight in my face, filming me, everything I say. During the course of an hour and a half, I'm probably going to have one or two things that sound good, that are nuggets of wisdom that I can pass on to other people. And so what I would do is I would clip those videos up, put them out on LinkedIn, and I have a background in video editing, but I also know that these things need to be done quickly. So you have a full studio right here on your phone if you're talking about doing quick, down and dirty video. I actually have a whole folder on my phone called Create, where if I had a video to edit, that's where I would go. So I have an iPhone, so I have iMovie. It's really simple to use, but there are tons of different video editing platforms. Premiere Rush is another one. If you do produce video, use captions. It's great for, if I'm browsing social at work, I don't have my volume on, so it's great for that. And it is also fantastic for accessibility, for people who, people who have hearing issues, things like that. You don't want to exclude your content from them. So Spark Camera, Melanie's saying, is a great one for on the go. For captions, I like to use something called Mix Captions, MIX Captions. It actually has a voice recognition thing where it fully translates what you're saying, and it does so pretty accurately. You will have to go in and clean it up a little bit. So iMovie, Spark Camera, Mix Captions, always have captions. Canva's app will allow you to take that video that you just made and throw a cool looking title on it. You can do that with iMovie too, but Canva has a lot more preloaded templates. So honestly, you have everything you need in your phone right here to start off in video editing. It will be super simple. It will be super limited. That's kind of what you need, right? That's kind of what you're looking for. So I also got a question from Jacob. What blogs/podcasts do you follow to stay up to date with marketing best practices? I'm glad that you said, blogs and podcasts, because most books, Melanie's book being an exception since it's so freaking perfect. But if you're talking about things like online marketing or SEO, the industry changes so much in terms of those specifics, that the theory of marketing always stays the same. That's why I think Melanie's framework works so well. But if you're talking about things like SEO, once that book is printed out, Google's changed their algorithm into something new. So podcasts and blogs, fine. So I actually had a friend who's trying to get into marketing ask me recently, I need to create this marketing strategy for this job interview that I have. Where do you recommend I go to learn about this? I was like, honestly, man, you're not going to find a single source that fully runs the gamut of content creation, SEO, advertising, video production, all those different things. And so there are a few resources that I do recommend. I think Content Marketing Institute is a great place to kind of get some of those foundational content foundational content, ideas. They also talk a lot about content marketing, Social Media Examiner, Moz. Those are like the big three. There are also newsletters that you can subscribe to that kind of curate content from all those different sources. They rarely create their own content. They literally just curate it all. One is the Daily Carnage. That's one that I've followed in the past. They have, old school ads. Really good emails is another one. So I would say look around, find those few that you think really speaks to what you want to hear. Marketing Brew, Total Anarchy. Thank you, Melanie. These are all fantastic ones. And podcasts, I used to have a ton of podcasts that I would listen to. Building a Story Brand with Donald Miller, that's great for storytelling. I used to follow the Content Marketing Institute podcast that they did, but I don't know if they still do it or not. But if you do find that content source that you really like and that really speaks to you, subscribe to their newsletter. I mean, you'll probably get a daily email from them. You can ignore it when you want. You can open them when you want. But if it stays in your face, it's there, and you'll do some of that reading. So that's what I would recommend. Trends that began due to COVID that you expect to stick around. That is a really good question, Catherine. There are a few that I've kind of noticed. In fact, I'm going to start writing some things down so that I don't forget. The first being that, at least for our clients, what we found is that people are a lot more willing to pay. I mean, people are looking to spend money right now. Companies are looking to spend money. Don't let people tell you otherwise. But at least in something like marketing, they're probably not looking for these really big ongoing retainers where they have this long period of spending the same amount of money. Instead, they're probably looking for more project-based work, more one-offs. That's what I've found a lot of people doing. I've also found that organic social, while still fantastic for branding and all of that stuff, we've been kind of moving away from organic social as like a main kind of driver of those things. Honestly, some of the trends that I've been seeing for COVID are mostly trends that I've been seeing before, but just they're sticking around a lot more, things like email marketing works. Email marketing has always worked, and email marketing, I don't want to say will always work, but it seems like it's here to stay. Email marketing and advertising, we've been seeing way more success with getting our clients' message out and, making our clients money, which has always been a thing. We've always included email marketing and advertising in our strategies, but we've been putting a way heavier focus on those two aspects lately. Those are some of the trends that I can see sticking around. Any of y'all got anything else? What is a good tool or app to monitor the best time of day for my business to post? So some of those reporting tools that I mentioned can kind of pull it into a dashboard that will show you those things. So it could show you Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn kind of all together. But those social platforms also have their own insights that will straight up tell you, when is your audience most heavily engaged, at what times, which days, even demographic breakdowns too. So that would be my first stop, is going into Facebook Insights, poking around a little bit. Same thing with Instagram. If you have an Instagram page for your business, go into the insights, poke around a little bit, familiarize yourself with it. That way you can kind of start to familiarize yourself with those different aspects, those different data points that you can kind of look to continually improve. Time of day and, day of the week is just one aspect of the information that you can glean from those tools that can really help you zero in your focus and really get your message to the right people at the right time. Anybody else? If not, I'm just going to wrap it up and call it an early day and go home. But I'm here for y'all. Like I said, free advice from an expert. All right. Well, I'm always an open book. So if you don't want to ask these questions publicly, but you do have questions, reach out to me. My email is rodney@rallymarketing.com. Right there. Reach out to me, connect with me on social. I'm an open book. This is what gives me energy. This is what gives me life, is giving people advice and helping people. So if you have any questions, come to us on Social Media Breakfast. First Fridays of the month, Opportunity Machine, 7:30 a.m. Yep. So come back tomorrow. Please join us tomorrow for Get Started Medical. Thank you, everybody, for attending today. We're always psyched for Innovate South. Love it when it happens. So stick around, follow us on social, and you'll be hearing about all of our updates coming up. Yeah, attend Get Started Medical, get a chance to win an Apple or Garmin smartwatch. Thank you all for attending. I love seeing you all here. Y'all all have a great day, and hopefully we'll see you again tomorrow for Get Started Medical. Thanks, everybody. Bye.